I didn't fight. I didn't argue. I didn't even ask why. I just walked away. No messages, no explanations, no last words. She thought it meant I was weak, that I was heartbroken, that eventually I would come back. But what she never realized was my silence wasn't my surrender. It was my revenge. Now, months later, she's the one searching for me, calling, asking, desperate to find a man she once thought was replaceable. But the thing is, I'm not the same man she left behind. It was an explosion. There was no dramatic reveal, no catching her in the act, no heated confrontation. It was slower than that, a quiet unraveling of trust. Late nights that turned into early mornings. Conversations that felt hollow, like she was speaking, but not really there. The way her phone was always face down, her laugh a little too forced when I asked where she had been. At first, I ignored it. Then one night, I couldn't. A message, short, simple, and undeniable. I can't wait to see you again. Last night was perfect. My stomach dropped, my hands clenched, but I didn't react. I didn't throw her phone. I didn't scream. I just sat there, staring at the woman I had given my heart to, realizing she was never mine to begin with. And in that moment, I made my choice. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need closure. I just needed to disappear. She came home late that night, just like she had been doing for weeks. I was sitting on the couch, phone still in my hand. The message burned into my mind. I could hear the sound of her heels clicking against the floor as she walked in, humming softly like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't just spent the night in another man's arms. "Hey," she greeted casually, dropping her purse onto the table. "You're still up?" I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I had once loved, the woman I had built a life with, was now nothing more than a stranger standing in front of me. She wasn't guilty. She wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. That was the moment I knew. She had already moved on in her heart long, before she betrayed me. So why should I stay? "Yeah," I said simply, standing up. "I was just thinking about stuff," she asked, kicking off her shoes, her attention already drifting toward her phone. I didn't answer. Instead, I walked past her down the hall and into our bedroom. I didn't pack in anger. I packed in silence, no rush movements, no slamming drawers. Just quiet, deliberate choices. I grabbed only what I needed. Clothes, my essentials, nothing that would weigh me down, because I knew once I walked out that door, I was never coming back. When I was done, I took one last look at the room we had shared. The bed where we once lay side by side. The walls that had heard our laughter, our secrets, our promises. It meant nothing now. Without a sound, I walked to the front door. My hand hovered over the knob for just a second, then I turned it. I stepped out, and just like that, I was gone. No words, no explanation, just silence. And that silence would haunt her far worse than any words ever could. She didn't notice at first. Maybe she was too distracted by the excitement of her new life. Maybe she thought my absence was temporary, that I'd cool off, come back, ask her why she did it. But I never did, and that's when the panic set in. The first day, she probably didn't think much of it. The second day, she noticed my things were gone. By the end of the first week, she was calling, texting, begging for a response. "Where are you? Can we talk? I'm sorry. Please just answer me." She wasn't expecting this. She thought I would demand answers, scream at her, ask her why. She thought she would get to be the one in control, that she would decide when our story ended. But I took that power away the moment I chose to disappear. And the longer I stayed silent, the more desperate she became. Mutual friends started messaging me, saying she was looking for me. She went through old photos, old conversations, trying to find anything that would lead her to me. But I had left nothing behind, no traces, no lingering words, nothing for her to hold on to. And that's when she finally understood. She wasn't the one who left me. I was the one who abandoned her. And that realization, it broke her. Weeks passed, then months, and still I never answered. She tried everything, calling from different numbers, sending long, apologetic messages that I never read, even showing up at places she thought I might be. But every time she reached out, she was met with silence. She wasn't the confident woman who walked away from me anymore. That version of her had vanished the moment she realized she had made a mistake she could never undo. Now she was desperate. Mutual friends told me how she had changed, how she wasn't the same woman anymore, how she regretted everything. She keeps asking about you. One of them said, "She's miserable, man. She never thought you'd actually leave." I only gave a small smirk. That was the problem. She thought I'd always be there. She thought my love meant I would endure anything. But she was wrong, because while she was drowning in regret, I had already moved on. And she would have to live with the fact that the man she betrayed was now the man she could never have again. I knew it would happen eventually. She had been searching for me for months. Desperate, relentless, unable to accept the silence I had given her. And then one evening it happened. I was sitting in an upscale cafe, a place I had come to love in my new life. The world around me was quiet, peaceful. I had changed. I was no longer the man who once sat at home waiting for her, ignoring the signs, hoping things would get better. I had moved on. But when I heard her voice behind me, shaky, uncertain, I knew she hadn't. "Oh my God, it's you." I didn't react right away. I took a slow sip of my coffee, exhaling as I turned my head slightly. And there she was, standing in front of me, frozen in place, her eyes wide with shock. She looked different, not in the way I did. Stronger, better, untouchable. She looked lost, like someone who had been carrying the weight of regret for far too long. "You just left," she whispered, stepping closer. No warning, no message, nothing. Do you have any idea what that did to me? I tilted my head slightly, amused. Do you have any idea what you did to me? Silence. She had no answer, because we both knew the truth. This was never about me leaving. It was about the fact that I never looked back. She sat down without asking, her hands gripping the table as if she was trying to steady herself. She was nervous, desperate, scared, because now that she had found me, she knew this was her last chance. "I've been looking for you," she admitted, her voice softer than I remembered. "For months." I leaned back in my chair, studying her. "I know." Her brows furrowed. "You know?" I took another sip of my coffee, keeping my expression unreadable. "Of course." I just didn't care. That hit her harder than anything else I could have said. Her lips parted, her fingers tightening against the table. She was expecting indifference. She had prepared for anger, maybe even pain. But I had nothing left to give her. "I know I hurt you," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I made the worst mistake of my life. And I don't expect you to forgive me. But I just... Then why are you here?" I cut in, my tone calm but cold. She swallowed hard. Her breath was shaky now, her confidence unraveling right in front of me. "Because," she hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper, "because I realized too late what I had." I let out a quiet chuckle, shaking my head. "No," I said, my voice sharp. "You realized too late what you lost." She blinked rapidly, trying to stop the tears forming in her eyes. "I was selfish," she admitted. "I thought I needed more. I thought I was making the right choice. But I was wrong." I exhaled slowly, letting the weight of her words sit between us. Then I leaned in slightly, lowering my voice. "Let me ask you something," I said. "If your life had turned out the way you planned, if you hadn't left, would you still be sitting here right now?" Her entire body went still. Her breath caught. Her fingers curled into her lap, gripping the fabric of her dress. She opened her mouth, then closed it, because she knew the answer. And so, did I? That's what I thought. I pushed my chair back and stood up, adjusting my jacket. Her eyes widened slightly, panic flashing across her face. "Wait, please," she whispered. "Just don't walk away from me again." I exhaled slowly, staring down at the woman who once meant everything to me. "You walked away first," I said. "The only difference is now you finally regret it." She didn't argue. She didn't beg again. Because for the first time, she truly understood she had lost me forever. I turned and walked away, never once looking back. because the best revenge is never needing them again. She sat there, motionless, watching me walk away, just like she had once walked away from me. But this time, she was the one left behind. Her hands trembled as she reached for her glass of water, but she didn't take a sip. Her lips parted, as if she wanted to call out to me, but no words came, because what was left to say? She had spent months searching for me, convincing herself that if she just found me, if she just apologized, things could go back to the way they were. But now she knew the truth. Some things can never be undone. Some choices are permanent. The life she once shared with me, gone. The future she thought she could come back to, no longer hers. And as she sat there, staring at the empty seat I left behind, a single tear slipped down her cheek, not because she missed me, but because she missed the version of herself she was when she had me. And now she would have to live with the fact that she would never have that again. Meanwhile, I stepped out into the evening air, feeling lighter than I had in years. I had wasted no words, no anger, no energy. I had simply moved on. And that was the kind of revenge no apology could ever erase. Final message to the audience. Some people don't regret losing you. They regret losing the life they had with you. And once you realize that, you'll never look back. The end.